Hi YouTube. Today I'm not going to be talking about my own views, using my own words and whatnot. I'm going to be borrowing, I'm actually going to be reciting an abridged speech by one Martin Luther King Jr. or Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And the part that I'm taking from is called Facing the Challenge of a New Way. It's, let's see, what was it, that appeared in magazine Phylon, or Phylon, number 28, April 1957, pages 24 through 34. They don't have time to read the whole thing, so, well, it's 10 pages. Yeah. And I can't post that much, and I can't read that fast. So, I'm just going to be reading the last part that I feel, matches, and I like it, so I'm reading it. It's from Facing the Challenge of a New Age, spoken by one, I guess it'd be written by one Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. as spoken by me. Here we go. Finally, if we are to speed up the coming of a new age, we must have the moral courage to stand up and protest against injustice wherever we find it. Whenever we find segregation, we must have the fortitude to passively resist it. I realize that this will mean suffering and sacrifice. It might even mean going to jail. But if such is the case, we must be willing to fill up the jailhouses of the South. It might even mean physical death. But if physical death is the price that some must pay to free their children from a permanent life of psychological death, then nothing can be more honorable. Once again, it might well turn out that the blood of the martyr will be the seed of the tabernacle of freedom. Some will ask, how will we face the acts of cruelty and violence that might come as a result of our standing up for justice? What will be our defense? Certainly it must not be retaliatory violence. We must find our defense in the amazing power of unity and the courage that we have demonstrated in Montgomery. Our defense is to meet every act of violence toward an individual Negro with the fact that there are thousands of others who will present themselves in his place as potential victims. Every time one school teacher is fired for standing up courageously for justice, it must be faced with the fact that there are 4,000 more to be fired. If the oppressors bomb the home of one Negro for his courage, this must be met with the fact that they must be required to bomb the homes of 50,000 more Negroes. This dynamic unity, this amazing self-respect, this willingness to suffer, and this refusal to hit back will soon cause the oppressor to become ashamed of his own methods. He will be forced to stand before the world and his God, splattered with the blood and reeking of the stench of his Negro brother. There is nothing in all the world greater than freedom. It is worth paying for, it is worth losing a job for, it is worth going to jail for. I would rather be a free pauper than a rich slave. I would rather die in abject poverty with my convictions than live in inordinate riches with my lack of self-respect. Once more, every Negro must be able to cry out with his forefathers, before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my father and be saved. If we join together in doing all of these things, we'll be able to speed up the coming of the new world, a new world in which men will live together as brothers, a world in which men will beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks, a world in which men will no longer take necessities from the masses to give luxuries to the classes, a world in which all men will respect the dignity and the worth of all human possibility. Then we will be able to sing from the great tradition of our nation, my country 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, for every mountainside let freedom ring. This must become literally true. Freedom must ring from every mountainside. Yes, let it ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado, from the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire, from the mighty Alleghenies of Pennsylvania, from the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from every mountainside, from every molehill of Mississippi, from Stone Mountain of Georgia, from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee, yes, and from every hill and mountain of Alabama. From every mountainside let freedom ring. When this day finally comes, the morning stars will sing together and the sons of God will shout for joy. So yeah, that's part of a speech by Dr. Martin Luther King. I'm going to put more up on YouTube when I get around to it.